People usually think of Dracula as the ultimate monster of Europe, the figure that haunted castles, villages, and entire generations of fear-filled legends. His name became a symbol of blood, darkness, and the terror of the night. But what most people never realize is that even Dracula feared something. Not crosses, not holy water, and not fire. Those were human inventions, tools designed to fight creatures that followed rules. What frightened Dracula was something that didn't follow any rules at all, something older than castles, older than noble titles, and far closer to ordinary people than any elegant lord of the night. That creature was known as the strygoy. Long before Dracula became a legend, people across Eastern Europe believed that death was not always the end. Some souls, they said, refused to leave, while some bodies refused to fully die. When this happened, what returned was neither alive nor properly dead. These beings were called strygoy. The strygoy was not a vampire in the modern sense. It didn't sleep in coffins, didn't need invitations, and didn't fear the sun. It was something unfinished, disturbed, and deeply wrong, born from death that went the wrong way. A strygoy could be someone who died violently, someone cursed, or someone whose hatred was strong enough to anchor them to the world even after death. And when it rose, it didn't come back as a refined predator. It came back broken. Unlike Dracula, the strygoy did not rule from shadows or castles. It didn't seduce, manipulate, or hide behind elegance. In many stories, strygoy could walk freely among the living, sometimes even during the day, appearing completely normal while silently observing those around them. At night, however, they returned to places they once called home. They visited families they once loved. They entered bedrooms quietly and drained life in subtle ways that left no visible wounds. Sometimes they took blood, but often they took breath, strength, or sleep itself. Victims didn't wake up screaming or fighting. They simply grew weaker night after night until one morning they failed to wake up at all. To villagers, it felt as if something invisible was slowly pulling the life out of their homes. What made the strygoy truly terrifying wasn't just how it killed, but how easily it could exist among the living. Anyone could become one. A neighbor who died suddenly, a child born with strange signs, a relative buried too quickly or without proper rituals. This belief spread paranoia through entire communities. People watched each other closely, wondering who would be next, or worse, who already was one. And this was where Dracula's fear began. In old folklore, Dracula was never portrayed as the absolute master of the undead. He existed within a system, a hierarchy of creatures bound by rules, rituals, and limitations. Vampires needed darkness, secrecy, and control. They depended on structure to survive. The strygoy existed outside of all of that. They didn't answer to anyone. They didn't obey commands. They didn't fear authority. In some stories, strygoy were even said to hunt vampires, viewing them as weak for relying on rituals and restrictions. Where Dracula needed the night, the strygoy needed nothing. People believed that strygoy could pass through walls, enter locked rooms, and haunt dreams themselves. Some described waking up unable to move, feeling a heavy presence pressing on their chest, while something unseen drained their breath away. Others claimed to see glowing eyes standing at the foot of their beds, silently watching as they struggled to breathe. These encounters didn't feel like attacks. They felt like invasions. Killing a strygoy was believed to be incredibly difficult and often pointless. Destroying the body wasn't always enough. Burning it, burying it deep, or sealing it away could fail, because the strygoy was not always bound to flesh. Some legends claimed strygoy could abandon their bodies entirely, becoming invisible forces that haunted families for generations. Once a bloodline was marked, the curse could continue long after the original creature was gone. This made the strygoy more than a monster. It made it a legacy of fear. Dracula, for all his power, relied on order. He needed boundaries between himself and humans, between night and day, between predator and prey. The strygoy erased those boundaries completely. And something that cannot be controlled is something even monsters fear. Old stories say that when Dracula suspected a strygoy in a nearby region, he avoided it entirely. Villages were left untouched, not out of mercy, but out of caution. Confronting a strygoy meant risking contamination, corruption, or becoming something equally uncontrollable. That was the one fate Dracula would never accept. The true horror of the strygoy is not how it kills, but how it spreads fear. Once people start suspecting one another, once trust collapses, the strygoy has already succeeded. Dracula became a legend meant to scare outsiders. The strygoy remained a secret meant to scare those who live there. And secrets are always more dangerous than legends. Because legends fade, but strygoy never truly disappear.